What up? What up? What up? Another great episode of the Sick Podcast Rams recap, and I got a special episode today. It's only right that I stare in the face of the enemy, the op, and let's get a deep dive perspective this week with a very important matchup against the New York Jets. And man, they got a lot going on, and I got a guest on today that does a very well job of trying to explain the drama that's going on over there in New York, New Jersey, whatever the case may be. But Sammy, hit my intro.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Rams Recap with LaQuan Jones.
They rush forward. Throw to throw for it. He's hit. He's hit. He's sacked. He throws it away. He flings it away on fourth down. Aaron Donald got there, and you can build that man's statue out SoFi Stadium right now. The greatest of all time on defense does it in the biggest moment of Super Bowl 56.
The sickest Los Angeles Rams podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Let's go. It is another great episode, Rams recap. And listen, I've had my friends on that are Rams fans earlier in the season, so it's only right I get one of the best out there, another Sick Podcast Jets, where we have a guest today, Mr. Jake Brown. Listen, this guy is also a host of the Sick Podcast for the Mets as well. And honestly, man, I need to get into those questions. So can we please just bring Jake in now? Because I want to get into the meat and potatoes of what's going on with you guys. But Warren, welcome to the show. I cannot wait to get into all the drama, all the storylines that are going on over there with the New York Jets.
This is what the Jets. This is what a Jets fan looks like: fat, bald, patchy beard, mediocre looking. This is where we're at in the Christmas holiday season. Is an inept franchise with another hit piece out in the Athletic about them. They got more hit pieces in the Athletic than they do Super Bowls. More
God.
Super Bowl appearance. They got more hit pieces in the Athletic than they have playoff appearances in the last 14 years, which is zilch.
Oh my God, Jake, first of all, don't be so hard on yourself, man. Like, I understand it's very stressful to be a Jets fan, but you look damn good, man. You look healthy. Like, you look like, all right, I woke up as a Jets fan this morning, but I'm just going to accept it, and I'm still going to tackle the day and make the best of it, right?
I mean, as long as you don't tell anyone that the chain is from TJ Maxx, that's fine. But everyone knows.
No, I saw you shine. I was like, man, I should have threw my my ish on today and got right for the podcast and matched.
It's no Jalen Hurts. It's no Jalen Hurts. That thing was icy. I call that thing icy Cleopatra. Like that's what that was on
he's
Sunday.
So icy. He is so fresh, so clean with that, my friend. Boy.
Yeah. Atlanta would be a place, like Outcast, I'd like to be right now. Michael Penix Jr., I'd like to have him as quarterback over Aaron Rodgers, who is yelling more about, Ryan Clark, give me your vax status before you speak. Shut the hell up. You're still talking about vaccines. Like, stop. Like, everything about Rodgers has just, I could go on for days about it. We'll talk about it, but he's just become such a hateable figure. And because he's playing better now, he thinks he could still go on McAfee and talk his smack every week. Get the hell out of here. You're 4-10, and the record defines who you are, and the Jets are a bad football team, plain and simple. And everyone talks about he's in a good stretch of games. Well, what about the first and second quarters where he started games off terrible? What about the first half of the season where he was one of the worst quarterbacks in the league? We're all like, look at what he's done the last 6 games. The record tells me he hasn't done enough.
Zip. And listen, I am so happy that you are a passionate Jets fan that can literally break it down from A to Z of what this means and what you're actually seeing. You're not a delusional Jets fan, like at all. Like, you're right there, bold in your face. I'm going to tell you the truth of what the hell's going on in this organization. And it's only right that I asked the question, how does one even end up a Jets fan? Was it passed down to you?
Well, I think if you're a Jet fan, you're delusional. So I probably am delusional, because why would he choose him? So it's not that interesting, but it is a kind of unique story. So the first year I got into football, I was actually a Giants fan. I was like wear a jersey to school day, and I got a Tiki Barber Super Bowl jersey. I remember the jersey. It was like a cool gold and white jersey. Clearly I like ice. I like gold. I guess since I grew up, I like wearing I like to shine. Now my head shine with Brazilian bum cream, cocoa butter. Like, I like to shine. And I had this gold and white Tiki Barber jersey. Later on in life, he would sing Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire to me when I had him on my old podcast in studio and I was working at CBS, and me and him got closer, and he was my first favorite player. I moved, so that was like 99, 2000. The Giants made the Super Bowl. So the Mets made the World Series. The Giants made the Super Bowl. The Knicks had made the year before the NBA Finals. So I was like, life's going to be great. Mets, Jets, Knicks. Later on, I'd realize it'd be the worst life in the history of mankind. But like at the time, as a 9-year-old, I was living incredibly. Like, not that they won a championship, but my 3 favorite teams made it. One of my, I guess, first friends in Connecticut, I moved to Connecticut in 98, but one of my friends in Connecticut, I guess in middle or high school, like said, like, let's watch the Jets. Like, and I fell in love with Vinny Testaverde and Curtis Martin. And those Jets teams were lovable. It's the last lovable Jets teams of our lives. But I started to fall in love with the Jets. So I do root for the Giants. I know people say you can't root for both. I don't think they're rivals. But when in terms of my favorite team, it's the Jets. So originally it was the Giants, and I kind of wish I never started watching the Jets because it really went downhill.
Oh, but I was gonna say, man, the goddamn Jets, man. I honestly only know a few Jets fans, but every single one that I've known in my life are very passionate. Like, you guys are loyal. Like, the loyalty that you give to that fan base, and why I think for the next few years, man, you guys are owed. Like, you guys deserve a franchise that are going to be taking these decisions these next couple of years very serious, because it's been a circus act these last couple of weeks alone. Not just this season, just the last couple of weeks. It's been a mess. Like,
I mean, the franchise is a circus. It's not just the last few weeks.
Like, dude, I'm trying to be nice. Like, I don't come up here try to pump my chest, and when I bring the rivals on, this week, because we are playing each other this week. Like, I want to come out with a win, but more so, it's like, God, man, like, what are you guys doing? What does the future honestly look like? What needs to happen?
Well, I'm so checked out that they said, you want to go on the Rams show this week? I'm like, why? They're like, the Jets are playing the Rams. I'm like, we're playing the Rams. They didn't even realize. Like, that's the point we're at. Like, we don't even know we're playing on Sunday because they're 4-10. And like,
yeah.
Usually I'm not that way, but after 4 years of the New York Post, having to work with the beat writer I had to work with, who, hated the team clearly, and, it was hated by a lot of fans, I was forced to watch and produce content about bad football for 4 years.
Yeah.
Like, they were not every December since I was hosting, it was called Gangs All Year with the New York Post. The team was dreadful. So like, I'm so used to December games and talking about Tankathon, like, where are they at? I opened the show with the Jets lose again, but they are 4th on tankathon.com. And that's what we thought. Like, December is called Tankathon month in Jets land. And unfortunately, there's so many bad teams this year that the Jets aren't even in the top 5 in Tankathon, despite being 4-10. But yeah, I mean, it's just, when your owner and one of the owner's brothers is listening to my podcast with the New York Post, that's when there's an issue. When you have owner of a team listening, and I think I'm great. I think I'm good. I hate to toot my own
awesome, dude. Yeah.
I think I'm passionate. I think I'm good, but don't listen to me. I'm a buffoon. I'm a Jet fan. You're going to listen to my delusional ass? Like, that's just stupid. And you got the owners and his son, Brick by Brick, the 17-year-old douche in his profile picture, smoking a cigar at 17 outside of a pool club with daddy's money. I mean, give me a break. You got him in the war room at 17 years old, giving a game ball out. And part of that story that came out was how awkward that was, that Rodgers had a game ball waiting for Jeff Ulbrich. And then you got the other Brick that no one cares about, the 17-year-old Brick Johnson, giving out a game ball. Why is the rich kid giving out the game ball? He has no he has no relevance to the team on the field. He's the owner's rich, spoiled Harvard tennis player's son. Why is he giving out a game ball on Halloween? Oh, because it's the circus. Brick Johnson is showing up in his own costume because he's in costume himself. 17-year-old rich daddy's son in costume on Halloween after a meaningless win over the Texans. Congratulations, Brick. You really went brick by brick to give out that game ball, you spoiled brat.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rams Nation. I mean, look, welcome to the crib, Jake. You just spewed the most passionate take that needed to be said. This is the type of content you get on the Sick Podcast, Jets. Like, the Flight Club needs to be subscribed to, because honestly, us Rams fans, we're getting the inside look of the opponent that we're looking at. This is the point of having this as a pod. Like having the guest on the fans of the other side lets me know of the circus that's going on over there, and it makes us Rams fan a little bit more comfortable
You got
knowing
it
that
good.
we ain't got no drama.
We call it Jets Flight Club because you got to get stoned while you watch the damn Jets. You got to rip a blunt with Snoop to watch this team.
I mean, from Madden ratings to citing, video and trades, from the other storyline of Aaron Rodgers and the Enigma documentary, which I don't have the short summary yet of making me want to go watch it. I'm sure
I haven't wasted my time.
Wow.
Like, that's why he wanted to stay as the quarterback too, so you'd watch a stupid documentary. I'll probably watch it. I might have to be on ayahuasca to watch it, but maybe at some point. I don't know. I don't even know where you get ayahuasca. I still barely know what it is, but the clip I've seen of him on ayahuasca stoned is how we feel watching this Jets team. It's like, what world are we in? Watching a 4-10 team that spent a boatload of money on this future Hall of Famer. And listen, you said Jets fans deserve a winner. We deserved it last year. 4 plays in, Rodgers was out for the year. We deserved it this year. They're 4-10. I don't see any sort of like how any fan can be optimistic about, we could say we deserve it every year after year until you beat your head in. But unfortunately, I don't see where it's coming because this year was supposed to be that year. And even if Rodgers is back next year, how are you going to sell to me that the team's going to be better because he's back? I don't buy it.
The internal issues that I want to bring up is Garrett Wilson, him frustrated on the sideline. I know he came out and just basically said he needs to chill out, but no, like this is real stuff. I mean, 101, throw the F and fade. Like I understand his frustration. You were the guy. You were no longer the guy anymore because he brought his friend in, his roommate. I mean, Devontae Adams. I'm like, what does this even look like for Garrett Wilson? What does a long-term contract even look like for Garrett Wilson beyond his rookie deal?
He's had me, you, and Tim Boyle throwing him the football. Like before Rodgers got here, he literally had Tim Boyle, Zach Wilson, Trevor Siemian. He had every bum and their mother throwing him the football. And now he got a Hall of Famer throwing it to him. And his numbers still aren't where they want to be because that said Hall of Famer has stunk. And then when he got good, he threw to his BFF. So if I'm him, I'd be furious. Why would I want to come back to this team? There's only so much you can say about the team that gave me a chance. They brought me in. Anyone in their right mind would have gave you a chance. You're a star. Like, imagine him even with Russell Wilson, who would be a guy if he was available. If I was the Jets, I'd be going after this.
What about Matthew Stafford? Let Cooper right off to the sunset and bring in Garrett Wilson with Puka Nacua. Oh my God.
You got to think about that, but I don't know if they have 3 stud receivers out there. But he's got to start thinking of like, I could go to any other team and like double my production. He's clearly a star, and Rodgers missed a lot of throws. Everyone wants to tout Rodgers the last couple of weeks and how much better he still misses some pretty easy throws,
easy layups. Yeah,
and we're in a league where your quarterback has to have some kind of mobility. Now I know Stafford doesn't have a ton of mobility, but he can still get outside the pocket and sling it and make some throws that no other quarterback can. Look at all the like if you go through right now, like the top, let's just go through the NFL playoff standings, and I want to go through each quarterback. Bills, Josh Allen slings it, gets out of the pocket, can run. Patrick Mahomes, one of the best, getting outside the pocket and run. Justin Herbert, get outside the pocket and run. Bo Nix, get outside the pocket and run. Russell Wilson can even get outside the pocket and run. Lamar, I don't even need to explain. CJ Stroud can do the same thing. Jalen Hurts, same thing. Jaden Daniels, incredible at it. Jared Goff could even move a little bit. He's probably the least on this list, but he's got so much talent around him.
He got some old man speed in him.
Baker Mayfield, Kirk can't, but that's why he got benched. Sam Darnold, he could even move it a little bit. Jordan Love can move it. Every quarterback, Kyler, every quarterback that's in a playoff race has the ability to get outside and run if they need to, or move outside their little box. Rodgers can't do that. And I don't know what bringing him back next year. The league has changed. You got to be able to run the football and get outside the pocket. Yeah. And I don't see that changing with him being 41, 42 years old next year. Unfortunately, the argument is that who are they going to get better? And that's a fair argument considering they're not getting Cam Ward or Sanders and the free agent market is slim. You're not going to go for Kirk Cousins. That's probably a downgrade.
That's
So
literally same, but different, but still the same.
same anti-vax old man quarterback. Like that's you're going.
But he shops at Kohl's. He shops at Kohl's.
Yeah, one's at Kohl's, one's at the ayahuasca shop. Like that's the difference there.
He's getting the Salvation Army deals.
Yeah, literally. I mean, listen, I love a good TJ Maxx Marshall experience, but
There you go.
I don't know. I get the logic, but everyone who says that, you still have to deal with the headlines, the McAfee interviews, the dumb things he says, and I just don't think he's the leader that everyone thought he would be coming here. I think he's become the get off my lawn old man that you don't want to be a part of, and I don't think the fan base wants to endure another year. And unfortunately, you're going to have to eat the 40, 50 million, all the dead money that you're going to have to pay him. But I don't know. I'm probably on the 70-30, don't bring him back. But the 30 is because I don't know who the starter is going to be. And they clearly don't trust Tyrod Taylor to be a bridge starter because he hasn't even saw the field yet. So I don't know if they trust anyone else at this point.
You know what's crazy? I think Woody Jones is taking the Jerry Jones route. Like, there's a lot of clicks on the Jets right now. You guys are constantly in headlines. You guys are constantly having some type of circus brewing. Like, if it isn't Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, if it's Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, if he's not on McAfee, if it isn't this documentary, it's always going to be something with you guys. And I think he comes back next year. I honestly think Aaron Rodgers will be suiting up for another Jet season, whatever that looks like, with Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, and kind of hit the reset button. Kind of like, all right, let's start off with this collective. I can honestly see this happening because, again, what else is there to talk about the Jets? You guys aren't winning games, but you guys are in headlines at their headlines constantly in the media. I mean, it keeps the Jets relevant in a way, you know?
The Jets make me want to hit reset on life. Like they want me.
Jesus Christ.
It
ain't that deep. Oh my God.
My brother once put a peanut butter jelly sandwich in a VCR, and that's how I feel as a Jet fan. That sums up being a Jets fan, is putting a PB&J in the VCR and seeing if it works, and it just doesn't work. That's kind of a dumb analogy, but it's a unique analogy.
Unique analogy because it seems like it's actually happened. Like this sounds like this has been something you've seen.
Yeah, like he would drop the bowling ball on my mom's foot. He would put the PB&J in the VCR. He once put me in the dryer. I was once put.
Oh my God!
I think that probably explains maybe some brain damage I had.
Why you chose the Jets?
Why I chose the Mets and Jets. I probably have some minor form of like CTE or like DT.
You got the trifecta, man.
I have DMT, drying machine TE. But it's Mets. I mean, at least the Knicks are a winning team right now. But yeah, I just think running it back with him could be a colossal mistake. And he's a guy who's made tight ends so much money, and I've never seen him throw it less to tight ends. And Tyler Conklin's not a bum; he's a decent receiver. Like Jeremy Rucker was supposed to be a breakout, backup tight end, and he throws it to him like once every 3 weeks. So it's almost like he's just looking for Adams to stat pad for him to make sure his guy gets paid. He doesn't care about Garrett. The run game has got worse. I think the only positive is they do have some pieces in place on that offensive line. Like they have some good offensive line pieces. The defense has been a train wreck. Like Ulbrich is done. They got to figure out their head coach.
Sauce looks like he's lost in the sauce, man.
He's Ahmad. He's no longer Sauce. Like he's lost that
Ahmad.
name. Like, his name is Ahmad. I don't call him Sauce anymore. Like you
got to earn the sauce back.
I'm convinced me hitting the punching bag, I'm a better tackler now than I am Ahmad Gardner, and that's concerning. I wouldn't touch an extension with him until he proves it next year. But I always say on my show, he's worried more about streaming than tackling. He's on kick with Kai Cenat more than he is with the Jets defensive coaches in the meeting room. So the defense has really regressed, and defense wins championships. They say, well, this defense was supposed to be the calling card for the Jets, and the defenders of Rodgers will say, look at what the defense has done, in all the games, but late in games where they have a lead in the fourth quarter and they blow it. Like that's been the famous words from a lot of Jets fans, and it's not wrong, but you have a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's supposed to still carry you to a winning record, and your quarterback,
that is true.
Your coach gets the blame. The owner gets the blame. It's the worst owner in sports, Woody Johnson, then the coach, and then the quarterback. That's just how the tree goes.
But the tree right now looks like Aaron Rodgers is all three up. Like he's running the show. And honestly, that is probably the most toxic trait. Like he's one of those toxic relationships that, you just you just have to watch the train wreck. It's like Ron and Sam. Like I compared like the Robert Saleh and all them and Hackett, like they were the Jersey Shore. And him and Hackett, it's kind of like, Ron and Sam. It's a toxic relationship, but they stay together. And I honestly think this is what, it fits for Jersey, New Jersey, Jersey Shore. Like you guys just love the storylines right now.
And yeah, and obviously the athletic story and the Madden rating and Woody yelling at Mike
Jim
F.
Nagy. I forgot to touch on that, man. I mean, Jim Nagy getting the interview. How does the Jets fan base, like I've seen comments from both sides, but how do you feel actually about the Jim Nagy interview?
I'd be fine with him. I think, Douglas came. You want a guy who's done it before, and at least Nagy, I feel like, has done it before, where he could be intriguing. I want Vrabel. My issue with Mike Vrabel as head coach coming here is the headbutting. It'll be Beavis and Butthead with him and Woody Johnson. Like Vrabel as a head coach comes in and wants everything. It's like Burger King. I want it my way or his way or whatever.
Yeah.
Burger King, I could do a whole podcast how trash they are now. It's a disgrace. In the fast food rankings, Burger King has gone down to crapper. And you end up going down the crapper when you eat it. Oh, just the worst now. Once they changed their fries and they got rid of nuggets, just down. Anyway, that's a whole different show.
Not many people know that, dude. When they changed the Dino Nuggets, that's when it was a wrap. Like the fries changed, it was a wrap. I was working there in that transition, by the way.
Really? Yes. I'm glad you got out of it.
I quit. I got the hell out of there.
I minored in fast foodology at Hofstra, actually, so I could talk a lot of fast food.
We got to bring you back so we can rank them.
Yeah, I did a whole podcast on like things I would ban, and it was Staten Island, New York bikers, and like Burger King were like in the top 3 of things I would ban, and cats. I think cats were in the Mount Rushmore.
Oh, yeah,
I hate
they're
cats
evil.
as well. I could do a whole podcast on cats and girls I've talked to end up, having cats, and then we stopped talking because of the cats. Anyways, I'm all over the place. I think I got ADHD. But what were we? We were talking about. So Vrabel wants his way or the highway, and the stories you read with Woody, I feel like the head clashing that would go on between those two, where Woody wants this because his son Brick saw it in Madden or Twitter, where Vrabel's like, "Hey, I see it on the football field, so shut up, 17-year-old kid." So I also think it's not a good sign that all these employers that work for you are going out and saying all these things. I think a lot of it is Joe Douglas and a lot of it is Rex Hogan. No one really knows about Rex Hogan. Rex Hogan's the other guy that's likely leaking all this. He was the assistant GM. They essentially eliminated his role and he was sour. An employer cuts you, you're sour. Like, you don't think I'm not sour a little bit about the New York Post for eliminating my role and getting rid of me? Of course I am. I could write a book about my time there. It would be a New York Times bestseller about the New York Post. It would be perfect. But I'm not going to do that. But it is telling that these guys are leaking all of this information about this team. It shows you the workplace and the structure and everything that goes on there is so bad that I just don't know if the Jets are going to get those top candidates. Aaron Glenn as a head coach makes a lot of sense. Beloved Jet, doing great in Detroit. He's a name. But then again, do you want to go down that defensive coordinator, head coach route like you did with Robert Saleh? It didn't work. Now, Saleh, I think, he coddled players. I think Glenn would be a lot more hard-nosed on players. But there's a lot of directions that you see the positive, and then you're like, oh, wait, Woody Johnson and his 17-year-old son are owners. I don't know if this is going to work. So the structure is just messed up, man. And that's why I'm like I'm almost debating quitting being a Jet fan. I've never come close to quitting a team like I have the last couple of weeks with the Jets. And that's why I've put the podcast on hiatus, because I sound like a madman right now, because I am. And I needed
this is great. I appreciate you ranting like this. Like I said, this gives me a perspective of what the Rams are walking into. And like I said, it gives me a little bit more comfort because honestly, I'm still afraid of Aaron Rodgers coming off that momentum game last week. I'm afraid that you guys still have the weapons of Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, and even Breece Hall is practicing now. He looks to be trending to be playing. So I'm more so fearful you guys are on a piss on your playoff campaign these next 3 weeks, and you can hurt our chances of being in seeding and going to the playoffs. Like, we need to win every single game, and the Jets, they scare me just based on your available weapons. So, like, I just want to do a temp check on you of your expectations, honestly, going into this game, though.
Yeah, Brees will be back. So they said he did practice yesterday, so he's good to go. Brees Hall will play on Sunday, so I think that helps. I think what the Jets have going for them is that the Rams got to come to cold weather. It's like a low of 17 degrees, a high of like 27 in East Rutherford, and then
Jersey weather. Yeah, man.
and another layer to Jet fan, that trash stadium, the worst stadium in sports. The best food they have is like a chicken finger. Like, what is this, 1994? Upgrade your food options, you bums. Just an awful stadium.
Yeah, Bubba burgers that aren't great, but
No,
yeah.
I'm a food stadium connoisseur, and MetLife Stadium has the worst food I've ever had for that big air conditioning unit that it looks like. Just a disgrace of a stadium. Anyways, I went to the side there, but Brees Hall's back. I do think they'll make it competitive. Like I said, the cold weather I think probably favors the Jets a little bit because the Rams are used to obviously dome and warm weather and LA, and I think that helps. But I can't see the Jets winning. And, the difference here is the Jets find ways to lose games. Yes, they beat the Jaguars, but they literally said, take the game from us. They gave them the ball with a minute left when they could have just kneeled it or just taken the field goal with a couple seconds left. They're coaching so bad that even a game they almost handed back. So they don't know how to close games. So, yeah, I think it might be close, but I can't see. The Rams are playing for everything right now. I don't think the Jets have an answer to stop Matthew Stafford. The secondary has been weak. Their defense collapses late in games. They're tired late in games. Can the Jets lose by a field goal? Maybe. But I just don't think they know how to close out and win games. But I do think it's definitely more of a be careful matchup than it maybe was a few weeks ago, just because of the gelling that I don't know if gelling's a word, gelling that's going on with Devontae and Rodgers. I think there has been some chemistry there where the Jets probably will put up some points. But again, I just don't think they know yet how to win games. Brees coming back, yes, that's big. But the Jets' run game has been completely absent all year. Another reason they're 4-10 is if you can't run the football and you're relying on Rodgers, who's, again, like we talked about, is immobile and can't move, you're in trouble. So I do think the Rams win. I'm looking at something like a, 27-20 Rams, something like that.
I'll take that. I mean, it's definitely a W that we need. And I honestly think you hit the nail on the head because I was going to say it's going to come down to coaching. And I think obviously you're going to be outcoached by McVay with inexperienced, staff there and like that circus that you got going on. So it gives me comfort if it does come to a tight situation. We'll probably outcoach them, outsmart them. And again, Matthew Stafford, Hall of Famer in my book, man. There's honestly no other quarterback that you can put and contest towards him that he is not. Like he is literally one of the toughest, most high IQ quarterback players out there. He does all the Mahomes like special magical stuff in the pocket. He does the sidearm, the no looks. Like he does everything that everybody's favorite, quarterback does in the NFL right now. So I think it's going to come down to this game to set the tone for the rest of the season, honestly, for us to make that statement, to make that noise in the playoffs that, hey, we're dangerous again. We're here. We're going for another ring. And I said it on last week's pod that we're going to have to earn this ring. And I think it starts handling business. Not to say you guys are light work, Jake, but you've honestly gone on this.
You could say it. They have a 17-year-old owner. They're light work.
Like I'm just saying we got to handle business to get the light work and then put up big numbers like we did against the Bills. Like continue on running the ball. That's the key of success for the Rams for these next couple games, man. I'm trying to play football in February, man. Like honestly.
Yeah, I don't see that. I think it's more of a possibility now that David Montgomery's out for the season. I think that does open up things. I do think a lot of people are sleeping on the Philadelphia Eagles, who are running through the league right now. I think the Eagles are very dangerous. I think the Packers are dangerous. So I think you guys got a shot once you get it. Now you can't lose this game because you got Arizona and Seattle after that. That determines the division. This is like a must-win game. You're probably not getting as a wild card. It's division or bust, it feels like, with how good some of these wild card teams have been. Yeah. So if you lose to the Jets, it's all like you just give up. Like,
it's over. Yeah, I will be on this podcast Monday afternoon, very high energy and pissed off and not understanding how we could possibly lose to the Jets. But when you look at it on paper, there's talent there. I just don't know if the talent is motivated to go out there to put up high numbers. Like that's my only comfort of what all this circus act stuff going on. But it's more so of like, hey, Rams need to handle business this week. And Jake, hopefully we can handle business because I kind of want to have you back on Monday's episode and react to this game. Like you could probably just come back on here and pump your chest. Like I told you, like this is a terrible product. Like this is what we expected, right? Like hopefully that's what we can do.
It's business decision season for teams that are 10. This is the decision season of, do I want to hurt myself and make this tackle? Think about it. 3 days before Christmas, I'm about to be with my family. Do I want to be in a hospital with a torn ACL, giving my all for a bunch of frauds, an owner who can't buy lottery tickets?
It sounds like a message to certain players.
His dad who goes on Fox News and spews all this nonsense like he does. Just a terrible family. They're just so hateable. They're just the issue is like, let me go back and switch to the Giants. Giants are a laughing stock too. Like both teams. I always say in New York football, and then Bills fans will say, we're the real New York.
That's why I label you guys New Jersey. Like, I'm from New Jersey. I could say that. Like, I don't mean to put it at all of like pointing the obvious. You guys play in New Jersey, but y'all can't claim New York with the Buffalo Bills as good as they are. Like, y'all are the New Jersey Jets, New Jersey Giants. Like, y'all just got to sit with that. And somebody that is homegrown, been in Jersey for 30 plus years, like, bro, y'all got to accept that and earn that New York market. Like, honestly, it is what it is.
I always wanted them to move to Queens, and now they have the soccer stadium coming next to Citi Field in 2027. I was hoping they'd move there. The more I see this team in dysfunction, maybe send them to Mars. Like, just send them to Alaska. Let's make them the Alaska Jets. Build a dome in Alaska. You can make your mascot an actual penguin. A penguin comes out to the 50-yard line and introduces, it'd be like the Greatest Showman, the circus, and you got women with beards, and you make them, put them at middle linebacker for the Jets. Just, Zac Efron's your quarterback. Hugh Jackman's the head coach. Just make the Jets the Greatest Showman. The more I've watched them, the more I'm like, maybe I don't want them at Queens. Maybe I don't want them to ruin my bacon, egg, and cheese on a Sunday morning. Maybe I don't want them to ruin the best food in Astoria, Queens, my vodka chicken parm that I have for lunch. Maybe I don't want the Jets to ruin my stomach more than that food will hurt it. So yeah, I mean, it's ugly, but you guys should win. And it's just unfortunate. The Jets lead NFL history in meaningless December wins that leave me numb with no feeling and losing out on big draft picks. Now in this draft, I don't think there's a ton of names. There's those two quarterbacks. There's not a lot after that. So I don't think it's the massive deal because it doesn't feel like they're going to get a quarterback with their top pick. It feels like they get a bridge guy and then hope for Jordan Travis, who they do have right now, to come back next year and maybe get the chance. And then maybe the year after you do draft. But I don't know. All signs, like you said, point to Rodgers coming back and just more headlines and more of me pulling my non-existent hair out.
Listen, Jake, it's been awesome having you on the Rams recap, man. And honestly, I do want to have you back. Like, this has been a great experience with you, man. And look, you got to tell the folks, where can they find you? When can they expect the pod back? I mean, look, like the Sick Podcast, the Flight Club, like Jet Flight Club, like we got to get you back on, man. When can they tap back in and where can they find it?
Yeah, I feel like they don't care, but maybe it's funny. I was doing it with Eric Coleman, former Jet. I think he didn't care enough either one weekend. Like, I think the last show Eric Coleman did was we had Lavernius Coles on, who was one of my favorite players growing up. And it was an incredible interview. He said a lot. He said in the whole year he played for Eric Mangini, he didn't speak to him once. Imagine today's day and age, like a player not saying a word to their head coach. I mean, you can't even fathom that. So yeah, I think we'll come back. I'd be down to do a Rams recap of the Jets blowout loss after they lose on.
Hopefully that's what we come. Hopefully that is at the top of the show sheet for me. Like, all right, we got this blowout win. We got the confidence, momentum. We good. So hopefully that's what's on the menu.
Yeah, I would do that. And I will say I'm doing a lot on TikTok. I do TikTok lives every day. So definitely follow me, all Jake Brown Radio, and go to my YouTube as well. Obviously follow Jets Flight Club, Mets Magic. The next big Mets show, we'll do a Mets show. Jets, I'll do one or two here before the season ends. I've been absent. I got my hiatus. I'll do it. But definitely if you're on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Jake Brown Radio across the board, a lot of TikTok lives. I think I've gained like 400 followers in like the last week or two on TikTok. We've been hammering lives every single day. So if you enjoy sports talk and a lot of baseball off season, football, everything, head over to TikTok and watch my lives at Jake Brown Radio.
Sweet Jake Brown, ladies and gentlemen. Another great episode of Rams Recap. And you guys know where you guys can find me. You see the face, you know the case. It's your boy LQ, Mr. Real Deal Fantasy. This is another great episode. I'll see you guys next week. And hopefully we get a W, baby. Peace.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Rams Recap with LaQuan Jones on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.